Hello legends, welcome. Morning Mez here, so I apologise if I sound a little bit croakier than usual. It is rather early here in the UK. But I'm back with another instalment of my Learn With Me series, the OVEREXPLAINED HAVOC 40 runs. So on this episode, in this instance, we are on Power Matrix, which is a pretty cool map to be fair. And the modifiers that we have are Cranial Corruption and Heinous Rituals. Now, just to cover briefly what the modifiers do. So Cranial Corruption, I mean, we spoke about it during the last one. But essentially, a bunch of enemies get infected with a head parasite. A disgusting looking head parasite, I might add. And this has a couple of effects. So one, if they are headshots, so if these parasitic mobs are headshots, so kinetic flare, they explode. And this is a bit of a nightmare if you're a melee character, and it can knock you out of position, can lead you, all that kind of good stuff. In addition, infected enemies with Cranial have really high suppression and stagger resistance. Now, this is especially dangerous for enemies like Reapers, where your normal tactics of getting them to put their guns away probably aren't going to work. So if you see a Cranial Reaper, just know cover is probably your best friend, or taking it out when it's aiming at someone else. In addition, this one is a bit more vibe than proven, but I can only speak to the evidence before my eyes, right? It seems to impact the number of Reapers that spawn. So I just mentioned Reapers mega dangerous with Cranial. You seem to get more of them in these maps. I'm not sure why. And secondly, we have Heinous Rituals. So Heinous Rits is very similar to Ambient Demon Hosts with a couple of key differences. One, rather than just having a lovely goth chick sitting on the floor sleeping, these are demon hosts with cultists around them, so they're actively summoning the host. So what happens is, rather than like proximity trigger, well, that's not true, it's still a proximity trigger, right? But basically, if you get too close to the ritual, or if you kill too many mobs near the ritual, basically a progress bar starts filling up. If it gets to the max, you summon, like the host is released, Denise is released. And rather than in a normal situation, a demon host, if it kills one player, it'll just fuck off back to the warp. A ritual summoned demon host will tear the souls out of every single one of you. So, super dangerous, has to be prioritized. In addition, because it's fucking Darktide, and I don't know what the fuck Fat Shark are doing, I'll be honest with you. Some of these are super bugged. In fact, it's probably the worst we've seen recently. As in, some of them just trigger for no damn reason. As in, the progress bar starts filling up super rapidly. Just based on proximity. So you could be miles away from it. You step through a doorway and the Rit starts triggering. Fucking joy. As well as recently, since the release of Skitari, we have noticed lots of fun in games like double stacked Rits. So normally where there'd be one ritual, one host with a bunch of cultists around her, now we get two plonked on top of each other, or like right next to each other. And this is obviously dangerous because it means that there are more cultists that you have to kill to deactivate the Rit. I didn't mention it, but just to say, basically the progress bar starts really slowly, or it should start really slowly if you're quite far away, but you know, within decent distance of it. And when you get close, it starts filling up mad rapidly. If you kill the cultists, so if you kill, let's say, half the cultists, the progress bar slows down based on the number of cultists that are actively summoning. Fucking hell, I said to myself I'd be more concise. That was a well-rambly explanation, but either way, we move on. Our team comp in this instance is we have Galahad on a Thunderhammer Book Zeal because he's just a massive chad. We have Zaki on a Plasma Gun Takax Vet with Shout and Shredders. And we have Keggy Boy on a Shriek Psyker with a Dueling Sword and an Inferno Staff. And I'm playing the Old Faithful. I'm playing a Charge Oggy with a Big Nade, Power Maul, and Rumbler. Now, we'll just call out just before we start regarding the blitz that I've picked here. I've taken Big Nade purely because it's a Rituals map. So things like Big Nade, Skitari Arc Grenades, what else? Hive Scum Rockets. really the big booms, right? They can very effectively take out rituals from a distance, typically in 1, maybe 2 shots. Obviously with big nade, if you land it in the center of the writ, Denise goes bye-bye. So that's why I brought it. I will also speak to charge over taunt. I'm just enjoying charge. It provides significant amounts of stagger. It lets me plus the entire team reposition quite effectively in a way that taunt doesn't, but also it's just a bit of variety, you know? So there is a loadout portion which will play, and as per before, I will pause, just give comments, try and comment on positioning, decision making, mistakes, all that kind of jazz, all right? But yeah, like I say, going into this map, right, what we're expecting here, we're expecting Cranial Reapers, so we need to watch out for that, and we're expecting bugged writs. Now, Power Matrix is a prime candidate for some really, really tragically bugged writs. And I'll call these out as we get closer to them. But there's a couple of areas where, honestly, guys, it's silly just how messed up the writs are. But, you know, we've chosen this. We roll. All right, going to start.
Maybe Keg. Oh, it could have been Keg's ass. I don't know.
No, mate, that's 100% come from Gala's soundboard. There's no other place that that horrible sound just fucking emitted from.
Was that perhaps a fart that you weren't expecting, Keg?
I expect all of them.
Okay.
He planned it out. I've just heard that and I've decided to skip along, guys. So that was the loadout. I've just turned the volume down very slightly, and we'll skip to the start of the mission. Ooh, okay. Ooh, we shall be fine. A little bit trigger happy. Here we go. They might have fixed it.
Lower.
So just before we start, right? So Zark knows there's a writs there. He can't see through walls, but he and I think most people in this group have a mod called Spawn Feed. Now, you can configure this mod however you choose, right? But essentially what I've done is just configure it to send a message, like send a notification on the screen when a boss spawns. Now, Zarky's a clever cookie, and he's done it for rituals as well, which is dead helpful. Now, you may say Spawn Feed could be slightly unethical, but given how poor the sound cues are in this game and just the frequency and the number of bosses that the game can throw at you. You know, you sometimes get triple, quad spawns. I mean, we've had all sorts of shit, like 2 monsters spawn, we've had twins and a captain at the same time. Like, guys, if you don't know that's coming at you, you're fucked. You know what I mean, right? So I'd highly recommend my brothers and sisters on PC look into Spawn Feed the mod. I wouldn't recommend... I mean, like, you can if you want. You can see every single thing that spawns, from snipers to bursters. Now, that to me is like, it's entering the realm of too much. I just want to know when bosses, and ideally when rituals spawn as well. Now, just before we start, so again, we're literally at the drop down right at the start of the mission. Zark's called out and he can see and has pinged a ritual right there. Essentially, what we're faced with, in fact, I'll let it play and I'll talk when we can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay. Go straight down, yeah. Let's go straight down. So there's 2 pathways here, right? There's a top pathway, which is to my right-hand side, which you can stand and hold this little platform. You see this cranial cunt right here. He's already a problem. This guy is dangerous, okay? But either way, we digress. Normally, we would take the top and just hold and try and clear and pull as much of the room as we can. The bottom bit is actually arguably safer in my eyes. Main reason is you have more space. When you're at the top here, these railings, you know, you're basically on a square platform surrounded by railings. You can get ledged, you can get like fire bombs can hit you, all that kind of stuff, right? It's quite a difficult place. You only really have 2 ways to exit. You can go backwards or you can go to the right. Unfortunately, mobs spawn from both directions. So I think if you were to approach this purely in a how do we pick the best place to fight, downstairs is probably the best way. This also gives you access to a couple of little rooms on the right hand side where, you know, you can use the 5th Chaos God, which is doors. But because there's a ritual below, the first thing we're doing is we're staying as a group, we're dropping down and we're going to hit that writ. You can see this progress bar here, so this will fill up much more rapidly the closer to the ritual we get. What else to mention? Now I have a big nade, I have one of them. Ideally, I want to use this to take out writs that we can't access safely. I don't just want to be blowing up everything that I see, right? Now, we'll see what we do.
I hear Reapers.
Yeah, there's so much shit up.
I just heard it, mate. I'm down here.
Try and burn them.
Oh, yellow stimmy.
Where?
I just want to pause to appreciate just how fucking cool this game can be sometimes. Like, yes, it's a buggy mess. Yes, Fat Shark makes some questionable business decisions, but did you see how cool that was? All the cultists summoning a demon host, you kill it, and it just gets like, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. They've done a cracking job.
That's right side.
I guess just while we're clearing trash and all that kind of stuff, I'll speak a little bit as to the role that I'm playing in this comp. I mean, I'm one of my favorite classes here, which is an Oggy. My role is to smash and protect, right? My protection comes from CC. That's pushes, that's dodges, that's my charge, that's my weaponry, right?
I get the plasteel for you, guys.
You are a, what, 8 foot tall, 1,000 kilo, absolute specimen of a fucking creature, right? Don't hide behind shields. Mash shit. You'll help your team far more if you're battering down the enemies and staggering stuff than if you're turtling, right? I firmly believe that.
Ah! Oh my god. Who's behind us? Just...
Right, I'm just going to pause here. So the section that kegs drop down to, there is a large box just here. It's always worth looting it. However, this area that's below us here, just as a watch out, people, this is another area that a ritual can spawn. So sometimes the game forces you to approach this. This is quite a dangerous place to fight. The reason I say is there's lots of ledges around you where, again, you can get ledged. And the box I'm talking about here that Keg's going to loot, just because he is a gem of a human, but also has a loot addiction, is right next to a spawn door. Like the number of times, excuse me, beeps, the number of times you'll be stood up here and you'll hear ticking because there's a burster or a train of bursters coming through that door is quite high. So my point being is loot the bottom, but be quick about it. And if you can, try and take the top or sit further back where we actually came in.
You okay down there?
I had to jump down because...
I will also say, look, it's just triggered here, but this area, literally as you approach these stairs, this is a trigger point. So dependent on the flow of the game, we want to hit this trigger and either push into this room and hold the room, but be aware that this is a drop down and there's like mobs below us. So we either want to push in and hold the room, or we want to trip the trigger and back out slightly just so we have a bit more space to fight. We now have a pack master on the way. I guess just to cover a little bit about what this enemy does, firstly, he's got tusks. He's like a massive walrus. It's quite cool. Secondly, he summons a bunch of dogs, which are a bit of a so what. The dogs aren't really that dangerous, just, you know, push them, don't get pounced, all that kind of shit. But he charges at you similar to how a plague Ogryn will charge at you, and he will send you absolutely flying. In addition, if he hits you with his melee attacks, and this is where he is at his most dangerous, it's not really his personal output, it's the debuff that he can apply. If he hits you with a melee attack, he will apply a debuff to you that just drastically slows down your stamina regen. So when he's like flailing his little fucking metal cattle prod at you, try and block, try and dodge, don't get hit. When you're fighting bosses, people, when the boss is targeting you, unless you're in a one-on-one situation, right? Just focus on avoiding the attacks rather than getting damage off, especially if you're newer to the game. Like, sure, if you're comfortable with it, you can find your attack windows, but things like the Packmaster, you're always better off holding the aggro, letting your team pile on damage, than trying to riskily get attacks off yourself at the risk of your stamina bar.
someone was shooting me.
Oh, Pack
that's
Master.
A Reaper.
Pack Master, yeah. Sounds like he's quite close. Yeah, he's close.
So you can see we've instantly just started pulling back, and here comes... I don't know why he's called Porridge, but he is now called Porridge.
Oh my god!
The dogs on me, yeah?
Okay, so in this situation, we're kiting the Packmaster back, but you can see we've fragmented as a team, so our first job is to fucking group up. Now, what we've done here, guys, is we've gone into this room, which oh my days. Alright, I'm going to pause it because there's a lot going on. We've chosen to come into this room, which honestly is not really conventional wisdom, but we as a team, we have an obsession with trying to door as many bosses as we possibly can, just because it's funny, ha. Fuck them chaos guys, right? So we put ourselves into a bit of a precarious situation here, backing into the room to the right to try and door him, and the dude just, I don't know if he teleported or what, but he just appeared next to us, eh? In hindsight, hold the back of the bottom bit. Hold the back of the bottom bit. What a sentence. The bottom level of this map, just hold towards the back of it. Now, you have loads of space to fight. There's actually a lovely piece that you can loop around at the very back, just where the stairs are. So yeah, don't do what we've done here. We've done it because we wanted to squish him.
Dang it.
Gallery's behind you.
Oh, the box person inside the roof!
Alright, just quickly on the screen here, you see this here? This is from his debuff, I'm pretty sure. So I've been hit twice, and essentially what it's done is reducing the amount of stamina that I can regen. Stamina is very, very important in this game, especially at the higher levels of play. You'll find out just how important it is when you have none. You try and block or all that sort of stuff, right? So what I need to do here is essentially be careful, but the good news is that the team is pretty healthy. Ideally, we back out of this absolute hellscape of room and stay together and pick a better place to fight.
That was full health.
My stamina! Oh my lord!
Mate, I can't even dodge. Oh, Fitz, you absolute fucker.
Fucking hell!
Guys, I quite
So
like him.
in situations where a boss spawns, obviously it comes with a wave of trash, sometimes elites, all that kind of stuff, right? If you can give ground, just to give you a bit of space to focus that boss down, do so.
It's nice, isn't it? You get so used to the enemies and the triggers and stuff. You right, though?
Yeah, I went to grab a grenade and then a horde and 2 dogs spawned. And a trapper.
Alright, so they're just going to pause here for this next section. I think what I'll try and do in this video is, as we approach drops or new areas, I'll speak a bit about my view on what I'm thinking about as we approach it. So first and foremost, when that trigger tripped, when we walked up the stairs, it didn't trigger a ritual ahead. Right ahead of you, right here, but also down here, and out past the medkit, you can get rituals, okay? But when you look at this, essentially what we're trying to do when we approach this area is pull and clear all the dangerous shooters that we can see. Also watch out for this area where my cursor is in the left-hand side by the med station, just because often it's chocked full of guns. Now obviously we've done this, we've tripped the trigger, we pulled everything, we've dealt with it, so now we can advance in relative safety. But when you approach a drop down like this, just make sure we drop down together, okay?
Oh, the box person ignored me? What the fuck?
My bad.
I don't know what's going on.
He should come up.
I'm not sure what Zaki's up to here, he just needs to come to us. But you see how we would rather wait and delay to make sure we're all together than just push off without him, right? Because that runs the risk of isolating Zark. And the game director, because he's just a bastard, will spawn disablers and specials behind to try and steal Zark from the warm embrace of the Emperor.
He's a man of very little patience, is archaic.
Just another thing to mention here, you've seen the room was clear, right? Literally look down here like a minute ago, it was perfectly clear, and now look at the state of it. Shit changes, the game's dynamic, need to keep checking, need to keep changing the game plan.
Mewtwo on you boys, behind.
So we've just spotted a free nade ahead of us, so that's always nice. Alright, so in this section, guys, just to talk about where we ideally want to move, right? So the med station, I keep calling them med kits, I don't know why. The med station is just behind me. This area here can be quite dangerous, because if you push straight down the throat of the room here, essentially gunners can fill this entire area, and you only really have two options: push on, pull back, with very little cover between you and guns. So our preferred way of approaching this is to clear what we can, obviously, and when safe, fucking look at that. Oh, Cranial's gross. But yeah, if we push to the left-hand side, there's a small room that we can hold with some stairs leading up to this upper bit. That's typically how we like to approach it. And again, just to call out triggers. So when you get to the top bit here, I think it's about halfway up the room. That's usually a defined trigger point. It's either up halfway up the room or sometimes down towards the doorway in the top left. But either way, you'll see us methodically move left, clear the room, and then start pushing to try and trip this trigger. And then we can take and kill whatever comes, okay? One thing I will mention, though, I'll call out when we get closer, that doorway there, that can often be a nightmare. It can often be absolutely full of shit. So again, we're trying to trip the trigger here, and we're trying to pull what's ahead. But I'll let it play.
Rages.
Mewtwo back. Oh, come on.
Oh, sounds
Sorry.
Rumbler.
Just because it's all ongoing here. One other thing I will add. That spawn door right here. So if someone dies, by the way, guys, again, I think this is useful info. If someone dies, our action is to literally, where we drop down from the top bit to get into the room up here, if we run all the way back there, someone is going to spawn right here, right? So the spawn, we can bring the spawn point very close. But there's a spawn door where mobs come out, and I don't know why this section just always spawns like 1,000 bursters at you. Where we're holding now is like natural, because it allows us to clear what's behind, but also to peek and pull what's ahead of us. However, you can see that this section, because it's quite narrow, it can become really, really uncomfortable when you have lots of gas bombers and fire bombers. So really here, we either want to push out or we want to pull back. So if we're faced with a really, really large wave of elites, specials, all that kind of shit, right? We either need to push out into the room I spoke about before, or pull back up to the ramp. It's safer to fight back here than it is to hold the room that we're currently in.
Look at all this. All these nets. Power more, Gala, watch out.
I could have just swung that power maul right then, but that would have popped the burster right by Gala, right? So be aware if you use Paul. Paul is indiscriminate in his AoE, yeah. So you can see we've done exactly what I said. It got a little bit hairy, so we pulled back out to this ramp. We have more space. We have better line of sight of the mobs coming towards us, and we can essentially fight in a bit more safety. And what I was talking about, so literally, if someone dies, guys, in this section, if you pull back to here, they will spawn just ahead of us down this ramp on the right-hand side. That's really, really useful to know. So if you lose someone here, pull back and get them back up.
The fuck's happening?
Oh, fire. What the fuck?
It never amazes me. We're in the midst of combat. People are losing HP and Cake's worrying about plasteel.
Yeah, they lock it in.
It's your dedication is amazing. Right, I'm going to push for that room. There are two charges.
Just while we're clearing this, so essentially we're pushing into the room. We're trying to move left into this potential hold that we mentioned earlier, and that's the upper walkway that I was talking about, right? So just pulling all the mobs, trying to clear them. just as a tip for people, notice how I'm trying to use the power maul here, right? I see a lot of people who get way too familiar and comfortable with just light spamming their weapons. Now, weapons have a moveset. Oftentimes, it's literally do one thing for clear, do something else for a single target. It's not that hard, guys. Try and learn the optimal combos for your weapon and use them. It's more strings for your bow, you know? And typically what happens is your strike down, so your, overhead attacks are going to be better for single target, or your thrusts, your stabs, and your sweeping attacks are going to be your clear. Alright, I'm just going to pause very, very briefly there, because I was sort of rabbiting on as we did it. So about a second ago, I literally came down this ramp, I stuck my head through that door, trying to trip the trigger, right? As I did that, I pulled all the mobs that were up in the room, and I've pulled back. So essentially, I tried to trip the trigger, found out there was no trigger, pull back to the team so we can deal with all of the armor together, okay?
Hard behind.
Sure, he crushes ahead.
Oh, fire somewhere.
Rumbler, Buster.
Bomber somewhere.
There are oh, it shot me in the face.
Oh, I'm
Is
gonna
this
die.
sniper going?
What the fuck? Is there still a healing behind?
Yes,
card
one
behind?
charge, one charge.
I'll go with you.
I got clapped and I didn't like it.
Yeah, just one other thing to mention. When I play in full random groups, even on Havoc 40 with experienced players, I notice people don't... I guess it's because it's a lack of trust thing, because you're playing in pugs, right? But people don't really respect medkit charges, med station charges. Why do I say that? For example, we've just cleared that room and we've held a charge behind us. The reason being is no one was really hurt enough to make it worthwhile using. But Zark got absolutely fucked up in that little section and now he's full health, right? If you can, just be smart about your med station usage. Now I'm going to pause here because I talked at the start of this mission about bug grits and Matrix being a particularly bad map for it, right? And this is the section I mean. So when we walk through this door, guys, right, this is a trigger point for rituals, for the Heinous Rituals modifier. And typically what happens, so just to explain, when we go through this door, right, there's a room to our left, which is typically where you want to hold, you pull what's in the room, you kill it, and then you drop down. But in a Heinous Rituals map, if you walk through this door, that's the trigger point, okay? And a Rit can spawn directly below us, so literally just below us when you come through here, underneath this walkway, but also on the other side of the room. I'm not going to pretend I know how to code things. I mean, I've made a few websites in my time, but that's about it, hey? For some unknown reason, the ritual that's on the far side of the room, so if you get a double Rit spawn, so one directly below, one on the far side of the room, the one on the far side of the room just instantly starts the progress bar just starts filling up mad rapid. So if you go through here, fully expect to have to push and take 2 rituals out. And typically what that would mean, and I'm not saying it happens here, but I'm just telling you what, in my head, what I'm trying to consider. Typically what that means is the team pushes together, just jumps straight down off this top bit, kills the Rit directly below us, and then I'll probably try and nade the one that's on the far side of the room. But this is it's like the crunch point when it comes to this map in rituals, okay? So we are very concerned about what Rits are going to spawn, and we need to be ready to deal with that. We have to hustle, we have to move quick here, if we get a double Rit spawn.
I don't know if there's 2, I didn't see a double spawn, no.
You can hear Zark talking about it. Okay, so it looks like we've just got one, and it's just the one below us. Now, I've chosen to nade it because there's a free nade behind me, whereas typically we'd probably just go down and clear that, okay?
We don't know because the UI is so fucking well designed, you know?
Jesus, this guy complains, sir.
But yes, guitar is so worth it.
Guitar is amazing. Very good. Dropping?
I have my doubts.
Twins.
Alright, so we have twins here. And just to speak to, again, I'm just going to pause very, very briefly, right? So just to speak to where we want to position and fight in this room. So first and foremost, trigger points. There is another trigger point for a boss spawn just by the door ahead of us here. So it's around the corner, and before you go through the door, that's your trigger. In addition, there's a spawn door where mobs flood through on the left-hand side just before that trigger point. Another thing we're considering, this is a rituals maps, right? Rituals map. I apologize, guys. It's very early. I can't fucking speak. But when you go through this door, there is a writ that can spawn directly below you. Okay, so we're trying to consider these things. Now, conventional wisdom here, based on how I like to play this game, we clear this room, we trip the trigger, and we deal with the boss, but then we go to the right-hand side, where I said the second bugged writ could potentially spawn. Because there's loot there, it's actually a better place to fight. However, because it's a rituals map, and the writ can spawn on this side, we want to stay on this left side of the room, just so we are better positioned to deal with that ritual. We've had it where we've crossed, we've gone all the way to the right-hand side, cleared the room, pushed forward, and the writ spawned far left, and now we're well far away from the writ. Makes it much harder to deal with. In hindsight, and again, it's another request for feedback, I'm trying to pause and stop less, but give you more info up front when we enter new rooms. If I'm piling on too much info, like I am now, tell me, and obviously I can adjust how I approach these. So we've had a twins trigger, and you can see here our immediate need is just to get Lisa, the melee twin, down.
Oh, okay then.
I also want to just, while we fight the twins here, because look, when we're prepared, when we're all together, look how quickly we can take her down. They're not really that much of a threat. It's just when you get twins with a whole bunch of other shit, or, you know, at a bad moment when you're weak and stuff like that. But when you play Charge Oggy, notice how short I cut my charges. Because what I don't want to do is to be charging into enemy density and getting claps, or having like armored mobs fall behind me and blocking my retreat path. So when I charge, just look, I'm trying to deliver stagger and give myself the attack speed buff. But I'm not charging deep into the enemy ranks most of the time.
The worst part, he stood still.
Yeah.
Oh man. Mate, whenever I upload a Thunderhammer game, it's just me whipping shots for fucking 50 minutes.
That is, unfortunately and painfully, quite true. But I still love you, Crucis.
I'm just going to touch the trigger, gents.
Alright, so you see I've just called out I want to touch the trigger, and the trigger is just here, right? So just before that door. However,
don't go through door.
Yeah, I'm just going to pause. So the reason I've said don't go through door is I've managed to trip the trigger just before the door. If I go through the door, I saw the green glow of a ritual below. Wow, that rhymed. So basically, we want to deal with the boss before we deal with the writ. If I just shove forward through the doorway, that writ bar would now be progressing, and then we have two things to worry about, yeah? Try to isolate the threats as they come. This is why knowledge of trigger points and ritual trigger points, specifically for Heinous Rits maps, is super important. It's also why Heinous Rits is one of the worst modifiers to do in an uncoordinated group, or when people just don't listen, right? Yeah, it can just end a run. It can be tough.
The writ is on this side, yeah?
And when I listen to these back, when I edited them and things like that, I over-communicate here, but part of the reason I'm doing that is to take that level of decision-making away from my team. Now, I'm playing with a bunch of absolutely cracked players. Like, seriously, these are some very experienced, very good Darktide players. But this game, more so than mechanical skill, when you play it long enough, guys, you'll get good. It's as simple as that, right? It's very hard not to. If you stick with it, and it's very much a marathon, not a sprint, you'll get good enough to have the core capabilities to fight in Havoc 40. No worries at all. But the mental load the game throws at you is incredibly high. So me calling things out when it comes to decision making just means that my team don't have to think about that.
Oh, I'm not gonna nade it.
So here, this is the writ I was speaking about, and you can see it's in the start of quite an open room, so we want to clear that and we want to back up. We saw the trigger for a Beast of Nurgle spawn, and Burgles, look, they can really fuck up your day because they are big. Sally's a big girl, hey? And look at her, she fills up that entire corridor. It means that we can't get through it. So when you have a Burgle spawn, just do be aware of where you're fighting.
Fucking vacuum caps.
Loads of ammo there.
Big and little goes on. If you want.
If you need to take it.
I'm alright. My gun shoots good vibes, you know. That's what I need. Might be the cheesiest thing I've ever said in my fucking
And
life.
just while this is going on, because we're sort of just clearing some ambient mobs here, I'm not a fan of where we are. And I don't know if it's superstition or anything like that, but I much prefer approaching from the right-hand side of the room, right? Also worth calling out that we've left quite a few chests behind us on the right-hand side, up those stairs, that if we wanted to min-max this shit, we should go and loot.
Barrel? No.
Also, just to call out, the reason we're checking all the boxes is primarily for stims, ammo, but most importantly, med and ammo crates, right? You only ever get 2 med kits and 2 ammo crates in a Havoc 40 game. We want them both, yeah?
I healed though.
That's why we are scanning, that's why Keg is such a loot goblin.
What?
But it also means that if you have found 2 medkits and 2 ammo crates, you're getting no more. Yeah, so do keep that in mind. So this section of the room here, look, we have a med station, the room I'm just approaching. This is quite a dangerous place to hold. In fact, I'm just going to pause very quickly. So typically speaking, when we approach this, I like taking if we're facing the other way, the right-hand side of the room, pushing through here and coming up to the med station room. What we don't want to do is ever really hold the med station room, because this area becomes a hellscape. There's a spawn door right here, but mobs spawn literally, they'll come flooding down the stairs, they'll come down from this side, but they'll also spawn behind you. It can be very dangerous very quickly. Oh, also just to add, in the med station room, bottom left of my screen here, just behind me, mobs can jump down from the top as well. Basically, you get clusterfucked in there. Don't hold it. So you have 2 choices in this space. You can, if it's clear like it is now, we push forward and go up the stairs and hold up there if we can, or we pull back. This side, so through this little doorway, past the little wagons, that's probably the better place to hold. And if we need to, we'll go all the way up the stairs into that room that we haven't gone into. Just do be careful. This can become very, very dangerous. You can get hosed down by guns here. All it takes is a couple of Reapers positioned around to make this very, very uncomfortable.
Reaper.
Fucking.
You just thunderhammer
Oh my God.
I thought
Once
it would be
for kick.
So just while we're oh, excuse me. Good Christ, I need to do these later in the day. I'm still mad croaky. Just to my right hand side, where you hear the ticking, that's a spawn door. Be careful with that.
Dogs.
In addition, where I've just charged here, so I've charged to knock over the Reapers, just to take the space and essentially to CC the enemies.
I saw that super late, right?
When I turn around, I'll explain. So just ahead here, you see these grates here? You can see where the sniper's aiming. Enemies can shoot through that area. So again, when you advance here, do it slowly, do it carefully, clear the ranged mobs.
Matt, take the ammo here.
Mate, you're really low. Take. There's 2 crates.
We just dropped one.
So we found both of the ammo crates. That means no more crates for this mission. Ammo crates for this mission. We still have one more med kit to find.
Last 2K.
I'm just going to pause it here because I think this is quite important. So this next area, again, can be quite difficult. But the area I was talking about just before the med station, you can actually drop down here and access it. It's literally right here. So if you drop down and you then move forward, the med station is just here. So if we get pushed and swarmed, better than going back across that little walkway we just came through, you could just drop here and have a much better and safer place to fight, provided the team drops, yeah? Move together.
On it.
Ooh. And now we have both ammo crates and both med kits.
Got it.
I'm on the
All the fucking crates. That is worse.
I never knew you could jump up here. What the fuck?
Where are you? Oh.
Oh. Oh.
What?
That's new.
It's part of the challenge thing.
Why though?
Fucking
One of
penance
the
master
master
over there.
skulls.
Jesus, I have 2.1k hours on this fucking game.
And
and
you
I
see
never...
the fire on the floor here. So these little barrels that I've just walked past there, try and detonate them before you go
mostly I'm
past.
AFK on the
They
hub.
can be really problematic.
Hub.
And so this area here is truly terrible, right?
Where is it?
So,
Where is it?
What kind
pause. You have two options here. So for some reason, guys, in this game, mobs can just fucking spawn through this wall. They just jump through this wall. It's truly tragic to see. But you can see how narrow this section is and how narrow the section we just came into was. We don't want to be here. Two choices. We pull back past where I called out the barrels, or we push into this room to fight.
of hub?
She's at top. She's
What do
top.
you mean, what kind of hub?
We know what kind of hub.
Well, of
Behind
course
us.
you do.
I'm just going to use this node.
And because there's a free nade here, why not throw mine? We want to burn Sally down as quickly as we can, but we need to make sure the back's
Horde
clear.
behind us, scare boys.
Stop puking, man. I can't walk.
Again, I bring a lot of
Fire,
CC.
fire, fire.
I can charge to clear space and stagger. We want to make sure...
Burst
Oh, I
coming.
got broke.
It hit me twice and I went down.
Oh,
What am I?
I have a green stim for you. You come to me.
So where we're positioned, the next med station is at the event, so it's a little ways away. This is why we're using the green stim, to make sure that Zaki is healthy.
Hey, you just jumped through the fucking wall.
There we go.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Over here they do. Armor behind with a crusher.
Yep.
Yeah, they literally jump through the wall.
So this room is not a bad place to fight. However, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. There's a spawn door just ahead on the left. There's a spawn door behind me where I was looting. And then enemies will continue to come up the stairs that we walked up.
Yeah, those ones.
You can see the double burst has just come through that spawn door. Oh,
Why?
yikes.
How is this fucking possible?
I think the one behind pushed the one in front. Or something. Forgot.
And I will just mention again, I mentioned it during the last video, but I think it's incredibly important.
OverX.
Take ownership of
Why?
bursters. Yeah.
We did clear
Again, there's nothing wrong with it going wrong.
That was too easy.
It happens, guys. Sometimes the bursters don't get pushed. Sometimes the dog will push them towards you and you get blown up. But my point being is, be the one to take ownership where it makes sense. Yeah. If you're closest, deal with it.
Makes sense. Doors open. Pushing up.
Fire.
So we've
Oh,
okay.
Captain.
I should have called this out before we walked through, but so our trigger point for this area, you open this door, when you walk through, you can hit the trigger. And you can see here we have a captain that's spawned. We have two options. We can push up the stairs, or we can pull back into the room that we just spoke about. It is much safer to fight in the room we just spoke about, all right? However, we have a ritual here. Now, the ritual spawn point, if I can turn my giant ass around, is literally up these stairs just at the top of the landing. So two options. we can, or I can, push forward, throw a nade at the Rit and deal with it, or we can deal with the captain first and then push forward for the Rit. It all depends on how many mobs are around us, like what pressure we're under, but also how quickly that Rit is moving.
I don't know, I can't tell.
No, it's not. We got time, boys. It's a bit sketchy with.
So our decision here is just to pull back, and we'll deal with the captain first, and then deal with the Rit after.
It's a lot of fucking rages to get here. Oh, it's a lot.
That's a charge.
Yeah, man. Maybe one of those ammos, though.
I got mine. On the ground.
For those leading groups and trying to step into a bit more of a what's the right way to say it? Maybe like a shot call-y type role. If you're gonna call for supplies like a med kit or an ammo crate, pick a person. The number of times I have said we like drop a med and both people have dropped the med is too damn high. So yeah, just be intentional about that. Be aware.
Thank you.
Oh, I shot it. Sorry.
Bursts.
What is he doing up there? Why is it?
I don't know.
So you can hear ticking and it sounds mad close, but the bursters are actually at this door here. This is where they'll spawn. Ooh.
Fucking A. Is he coming down?
Oh, sniper.
Now, part of the reason I chose to push forward and honestly sacrifice a shitload of health to try and take out the Rit is because the captain was taking forever to get to us. So the entire time he's, you know, aura farming, that Rit is ticking. So with a big nade, I just wanted to make that problem go away.
Sally?
Go on, Sally. We need to down the stairs, yeah? If we need to.
And again, when we talk about positioning, I mentioned it in the last video. Notice how we're trying to utilize this corner to my left here as a bit of a choke point. It gives us cover from all the specials spawning to our left, so we can safely dodge nets, push bursters, all that kind of stuff.
Fucking years, right?
Oh, stop.
I wanna bounce like that, so. Net. Another net. Bonk. Oh, Gala, you took my bonk, but you have a better bonk.
Hilarious self-burn there. Another reason that we decided to nade that Rit is because we were going to use an ammo crate anyway. People were low on resources. And all the vets out there, I don't think anyone will ever convince me otherwise. You should run field improv in Havoc 40. Just simply, it's too good to not.
We still talking about the revolver, or?
For those maybe less familiar with the class, field improv is field improvisation. It means that ammo crates will give you nades back. It also means that med kits will clear corruption up to your nearest wound. It's seriously, seriously good.
Right. That was quite intense. Drop in. Oh, absolute shitter, mate. Get fucked.
There's two more, don't I?
I think I was slightly annoyed with the
dog. The dog is a good counter.
the Vanguard mobs.
You know, be a
Given
better
my
counter.
vitriol and hatred to them in this game.
Source code. You know what I mean?
Ritz? What?
Rit?
Where?
Where?
Yeah. I don't know. Most
Got me
likely just
through
outside the door.
Yeah.
I can test it with the plasma.
Yeah.
They were just
How much
intensely tanky, intensely stagger resistant, and honestly just an absolute fucking cancer to fight against. How they are now post-change is probably how they should be. Maybe they could be a tiny bit tankier, but definitely not weaker.
Guns on balcony. Right side. Right, it's at the bottom. Sniper top right.
Just where we are here. Sorry, I've trailed off. Like I say, apologies, guys. I've still got sleep in the brain, right?
Oh,
This room, we have an event here where we need to scan the various consoles and they can spawn around the
Oh,
room.
it's one of these things.
Oh,
No.
guys,
Yeah.
why Fat Shark changed this is
Yeah,
just
sorry here.
just
And he
insane.
does
I
work
hate
on
these
this,
so much.
even on these
But
ones.
yeah, so there's lots of ways to approach this, but my preferred method of dealing with this event is to hold at the very top of the room. So we're literally, oh, he's moving around, like, basically up here. It just gives us better line of sight to deal with all the specialists that spawns. But you can see all the guns on the right hand side. What I've tried to do here is just to get in there and stagger them before they become a problem. But doing something like that, you need your team to help follow up. There are too many mobs in a 40 for me to effectively knock over and CC without eating lots of return damage.
I feel like you become a tack axe fucking expert, dude.
So where Keg is stood now, either this side or slightly to the left is typically where we'll hold for this room. It gives us, if I just pause a second, it gives us good line of sight to the walkways where specialists will drop down from up here. From the very left-hand side as well, specialists will spawn there, and it gives us cover from below, where mobs will just run up these stairs, and from the right-hand side, where the gunners spawned just a moment ago. In my mind, it's probably the safest place to hold, but just do be aware for things like gas bombers, fire bombers. If we get choked out, we either need to push forward to the middle tier, or we need to push to the right-hand side and take that. I will also mention a couple of people that I play with who are excellent players and obviously think about the macro about the game as well, have their preference is to hold in the right hand side. So where those gunners were, they sit there and it lets them deal with the range mobs that spawn immediately because they're already in their faces. And this section does give you lots of cover as well. I don't personally prefer that. I prefer back here, but it's always an option for you to consider.
Let's start with other weapons. Oh shit, I think there's a delivery downstairs for me.
Down in the corner. Yeah?
Oh.
Meeting had other ideas.
Where is he not in the corner?
He's not.
Oh, so
I've just remembered what happens in this map.
He's still
Reject consumerism, people. At least excessive consumerism. Then you won't have to answer deliveries while playing Darktide. That's obviously a joke.
Oh,
fire.
don't go there. Now we can go.
Yeah, do you need to go, mate? If you're speaking, we can't hear you, bro.
He is. He's gone, he's gone.
So Zark has had a IRL thing pop up and he needs to
The
just
Amazon
step
delivery guy
away.
that I didn't know was coming is downstairs. Oh no.
So yeah, he's had to, oh my days. This is just peak Oggy life
I
right
need to go
here.
pick it up. He's
But yeah, so
downstairs.
he's had to step away for a moment. Just as knowledge for people, if you're not aware, you can leave an active Havoc 40 and then rejoin it. Now, just to be clear, I don't recommend you do this, especially in pub games, without communicating it. But what Zark's done here is just gone AFK in a corner. He's actually gone AFK in a horrendous place, but he needs to go, right? So he's just left. If he left, he'd give us the bots, and then we obviously would, he wouldn't die and all that kind of stuff, you know, we wouldn't have to deal with that side of things. Because where he stood now is like probably the worst place to go AFK, but you know, such is life. All I'm saying here is it can be a bit scary to do it for the first time, but if you just leave the strike team, it'll put you back in the Morning Star, and if you rejoin one of your friends who are playing, it'll put you back into the Havoc 40.
Not fast enough.
He would just.
Yeah, he's trying, mate. He's an elderly man now.
Again, just to mention, in fact I'll find an appropriate, there we go. If we don't finish this event, if someone dies, they'll spawn just there. Literally just there, right next to a spawn door. If we finish this event and someone dies, they'll spawn ahead of us in like past the drop down. So it extends the spawn distance quite far. So what we're not going to do here, because Zark is obviously AFK and has died, is complete the event, which means he'll spawn here. We can then, when he's back, complete the event and move on.
Or just time.
Guys, just because I think Zark's AFK for a couple of minutes and we sort of just we just tread water clearing mobs until he's back. I'm going to try and skip forward until he's back. You can see he's just spawned ahead because we haven't finished the event. Now sometimes you can get stuck with really unlucky timing where you do the last scan, someone dies, and well, you're a bit fucked in that instance, right? But when you can, just be aware. If you're in the midst of a live event, the spawn room is normally inside the event room. Yeah, so if you can avoid it, don't complete it if someone has died. I'm also going to skip.
No, I'm already here.
Oh, he's back. Lovely.
Oh, he's here.
Come back. Let's push for him, yeah?
I'm very sorry. I didn't know he was coming.
Oh my god.
And just while we recover Zark, we clear the rest of the room, we heal up and like loot up.
Unless you want a new
I ask
pressure
again.
cooker,
This is a new format for me, but it seems the comments I've received on the first one, people have found some value in it, which honestly puts a big old smile on my face, right? If you have feedback on things you want me to go more in depth on, things you want me to maybe cover more lightly when we do these things, just tell me. I'm all ears. I can't guarantee I'll put it into action, but I'll definitely think about doing it, right? My intention with these is to share info. Yeah, there's quite a steep learning curve with these, with the harder difficulties, especially when you play different classes, all that kind of stuff. Lots of variables to consider, right? It's the team composition, it's the class you play, it's the Havoc map that you're playing, it's the Havoc modifiers, it's the RNG from the AI director. All this sort of stuff influences it, but it also helps keep the game fresh. I play pretty much all the classes, so my intention is to sort of like rotate and do the different maps, different classes, different mods. Essentially, whenever the fancy takes me, I'll have a stab at one of these. So let me know what you enjoy. Let me know what you want to see more or less of. Alright, notice how we saved the med station till the very end of the event. I mean, we weren't in dire need at the start of it, so we didn't use it. And this allows us to recover teammates in the room, because the spawn point's close, and then move into the next section with as much HP and resources as we can. Right, I was going to pause before we opened the door, but I was drinking water. But essentially, when you open this door, that's a trigger spawn point. Typically, the ritual will spawn a trigger spawn point, a ritual spawn point. Typically, the ritual will spawn just below you. So you walk down these stairs, there's a walkway, and you drop down, and the writ's right there. This next section can be quite dangerous, so we'll talk through and we'll go through it as we approach it. Right, you can see the writs below us, okay?
Oh.
And you can see how quickly, if you look at the bar at the top and I'm on pause, you can see how quickly that's moving. I think a plasma shot might have hit one of the cultists, so if you shoot the ritual, I mean, they don't like that. Understandably, they start trying to summon really, really quickly, right? So I think we might have shot the writ, but it's no bother to us, right? We just drop down, we deal with it. I will say one thing about positioning here, though, right? So if there's no writ in a blue sky world, yeah? Ideally, you stay on this side, you can loot up and stuff like that, but then you drop down. I see many people and many teams sort of like hang around on these really narrow walkways. There's a spawn door right here to the left-hand side, which is where this burster came from. Don't linger in narrow walkways where you can get separated, some people get knocked down, some people stay up, all that kind of stuff. Move together, try not to be fragmented.
Dropping. Oh, a lot of gunners, reapers.
So we've dropped down, and we've dealt with that ritual nice and cleanly. You can see... What a child. Oh, I'm not quick enough. Here we go. Right, so just this next section, because this can be dangerous. First and foremost, we have a trigger point, which is around about here. Just before you get into this bit, or as you get through that. You also have a spawn door to the left-hand side, and mobs can still drop behind you where we came in, okay? typically speaking, we want to be holding where we sort of are now, but if we're facing lots of gunfire, pull back slightly to where we dropped into the room. Ideally, what we do next is, look, we've dealt with the ritual. This UI is just, I don't know why it's been designed the way it has. It's still active, but it's dead, right? We killed the writ. We want to clear this pack of shit ahead of us. We want to trip the trigger and either fight it and sort of like slowly pull back if we're under pressure.
Okay.
There's 3 dogs here.
Yeah. And also, what are these? What are they?
Sure.
Oh. Okay, now. Here.
Your moves are weak these days, Kevin.
Oh, I keep getting cucked out of my fucking power mold bashes, man. I'm so sad. What?
Just to speak a bit about, again, the class I'm playing, the role I'm playing. There is the trigger, by the way, guys. So as you go through that little archway bit, there's the trigger. And the boss or the captain will typically break down this wall and be there. Now, we're not under intense pressure, so we're sort of like holding where we are now. But we have the option to retreat if we so choose.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Shooters behind, just small ones, but still.
Oh, wow, it's chunky. Now your turn, Gavin. The ultimate.
So this next section here, if I just hit pause, this is the drop down where we'll progress the map. There's normally quite a few shooters there, so normally we stand here, we pull what we can, we pick what we can, but first and foremost we want to loot the backside of this room. So on the left hand side is a small room where there's a big chest, and at the back here there's I think 2 big chests. Just make sure you check them, but try not to get trapped this side of the room. Okay, so mobs will spawn in the room to the left, but they'll also drop down. See where this gunner is, literally just here. They'll drop down from a hatch in the ceiling. So try and be quick with this section and then try and push on. As we drop down to my right hand side, this is also another ritual trigger point. So we're sort of making sure that we clear, we loot, and then we'll move together so we can deal with what's ahead.
Pulling.
Oh,
Yeah,
yellow. I don't know one.
it's
Dark, you can have it. Yep.
We got nades and ammo. Nades in the back and a yellow in this room, mate. Oh, dash. Wait, mine's got a 10-second cooldown or some shit. You know what I mean?
Mine does not.
Keg is very impatient today. He does not have
Yeah,
time
we
for action.
sort of dropped in a bit of a cockeyed way. Yeah, I'm just gonna pause super quick.
I apologize.
Exactly. So Zark is still looting. Keg slid down, and we all followed him. One of us should have stayed top, just to make sure Zark doesn't get dogged or netted. It's a pretty shit way to go. Just to speak to what happens next, right? So where Keg is, just past where Keg is here, that's the trigger. The boss will smash through. It's either that wall or that wall here. He'll smash through the wall. So we have 2 options. We can either pull back and fight where we are. Notice this is a spawn door to our left-hand side. It can be quite precarious to hold where we are. So what we tend to do is, look, when we trip the trigger, we tend to push and hold this back bit. Neither are fantastic places, but just keep in mind that our objective with this area is really just to clear it, deal with the trigger, kill whatever's there, and then push down this walkway where you can see this railing and get onto the lift. If we're down here, it gives us a chance to escape and just basically brute force the section. Whereas if we're back here, we have to fight everything the game throws at us. It's also worth noting that the ritual that could spawn, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure one can spawn here, but also at the back end of the room.
Guys, but you know.
He drinks to get very anxious,
I
doesn't he?
know, man.
So there's the trigger, and there's the boss.
Oh, watch the hole, boys.
And what we've chosen to do here is push into the room, which I think is probably the better thing to do.
Mate, now this is our hole.
We're in the hole.
This is
We
our hole.
just hit. Watch. Oh, Box Burster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck
Oh
this.
my god.
Watch the hole. Watch the hole. 3 of you all in there.
Yeah, because we dominated the hole, basically.
Scratching
mate.
the hole.
No. It's a bit too on the nose, that is, mate.
Sometimes I listen back to these conversations and I just shake my head. Eh? I don't know what to say about that. What am I doing? I think I'm trying to head at the rumbler shells. Yep, I am. Okay, don't spaff your ammo away like this, guys.
There's a bomber there. I want to kill it.
I don't know how you do it. Stay patient to me. Years of practice and of disappointment.
See?
Oh. That was close.
So this lift takes us down to the end event for the mission. And this is one of those end events that actually can have some hands, right? It can get quite spicy. Moving together, coordination, all that kind of stuff becomes really important because essentially you have to carry a bunch of power cells and put them up on the top tiers
The
here.
other side of the elevator just.
So it's very easy to get splintered, very easy to get separated, right? And obviously you need to protect the person who's carrying the cell because, well, they can't really defend themselves or they get buffed out.
There's a green here as well.
Gotta watch out for the med.
That spawn thing, that's bullshit, because what they're trying to say, that would have been 6 bulwarks here that we just fought. There's no way.
Cannot move this burden alone.
Just as a little tip, so yeah, we tend to just sort of like deal with them in the order that we can. So we deal with the closest one. When you push up these stairs, so one person carries, one person defends, or all 3 defend, you can actually throw the cell up onto the top section, right? It takes a little bit of experience to know the angle you need to get. And we actually wiped on this map because a couple of us just couldn't throw the cell and it became a thing and we just insisted on trying and we got fucked up. But yeah, so if you stand sort of like just here, just underneath that, with a little bit of space away from it, you can throw the cell up top, which is way quicker and way safer than carrying it all the way up the stairs.
Oh, got her.
Now, once the cells are actually put into their little containers, which is just up here on the right-hand side, the game will spawn a bunch of elites. Yeah, so you have 2 options, if I just pause super quick. You can, where you put the cell in, so where the cell lives, so basically the equivalent of this, there's actually a walkway that you could hold if you wanted to, and it's not a bad choke because the mobs just swarm up the stairs in a single file and you can sort of deal with them, and if you need to, you just jump down. However, what we tend to like to do is just to move with some hustle and speed during this section. So we'll drop a cell in into its like little containment unit thing, and we'll just drop down and we'll try and push for the next one. Just be aware though, this adds more pressure because we're choosing not to like proactively deal with the wave, we're dealing with it as we go. Yeah, and these waves can get quite spicy. You often see lots of maulers and rages and the like, so just do be aware. The main thing here is try and move together. Many teams, and sometimes we do this as well, will leave one person on the walkways, typically your vet or your burn psyker, because they can then, you know, when we throw the cell up, they can very quickly just carry it and put it into its little unit. And because they have, you know, lots of stagger and things like that, they're normally fine. But again, you put more pressure on one player to do that.
I'm dropping.
Well, look, there's no way these replace bulwarks.
Of course not. Mate, there's no chance. If they were elites, maybe.
Where's he got that from?
I don't know who he is, but yeah.
It's the fucking original.
He's up.
Oh, shitting it. Is it up, yeah? There's a few here. Got a pre you got.
All right, that's the second one. You have to do 3 of these, and the third one is right by the med station and the hull point to essentially to leave the map. And there's a good example of how you can throw the cell up.
Homer somewhere. Oh, fucking hell.
It's done. Oh god, I'm here for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh no,
So once all 3 cells are up, you push this button, and essentially you just have to hold for a short amount of time, and then you can leave through the door behind me. When we're holding here, just know that both sides and the middle are a problem, right? Mobs will just keep spawning at you. Just deal with them the best you can, and get the hell out of dodge.
Homer on the right side. I don't know.
I also
where.
want to just call out when it comes to charge, you shouldn't just use charge to knock over dangerous melee elites. Things like a pack of flamers, bombers, if you can stop them becoming a problem, knock them over. Plus it's deeply satisfying to do that. And the door's open. And we're done.
Gala.
Damnation behind us.
So a pretty smooth, a pretty clear Power Matrix Ritz run. I think we were quite lucky that we didn't get some of the really bugged Ritz spawns. But yeah, I think we played quite well here. It's nice to see. So I'll wait for the scoreboard, and again, I'll just cover some closing thoughts. So looking at the scoreboard here, again, the main data points I personally care about. I care about damage taken, and bear in mind I'm playing an Oggy, guys, right? Sure, I'm playing a charge Oggy, but I live in the front lines. I'm fighting the entire game, hey? 173 damage taken is pretty good going. But you can see we didn't, as a team, take too much damage, which is nice. It implies that we, A, moved with some decent pace, and B, we obviously weren't getting hit with silly things. Looking at downs and deaths, pretty light across the team. Obviously, total damage, it's a bit of a so what. You can just ignore Keg here because he's playing Burn Psyker. He almost doesn't count for this. But, you know, for a charge Oggy with a Power Maul, it's not bad going. Gala did pretty fucking well with his Thunderhammer bunk. I then look at, for example, total melee damage. You then look at total elite kills and damage dealt into elites. We then look at specials, and then you can break it down by ranged elites, DPS specials, disabler specials, and boss damage. All in all, a pretty solid run all around. Now again, ladies and gents, I hope that was useful. Super open to feedback on things you want me to include or do less of. And yeah, wishing you all the best. Take it easy.